BWA Roundtable. Welcome to a very special bonus episode. Why is it special? Special location, and we're talking about BWA Year 1. And what else is special? A very special guest. You turn that camera around. Oh my God, it's Brad Omack. Brad Mooring is here, the first BWA heavyweight champion. And that happened when?
I'm here too.
Nick's here. Nick's always filming. That happened when? That happened in BWA Year 1. And today we're going to have a very short bonus episode. We're going to talk all about Year 1. Let's bring it in. So, topic number 1. Either one of you can start. Nick, you're kind of a veteran at this. Let's talk about motivation. What was our motivation in the year 2000 and even earlier to begin wrestling? Notice that other children were, playing kick the can, stickball, all the turn of the century England stuff that we used to play back then, yet we chose wrestling.
We were special, and we were pissed about the results of a particular presidential election where our candidate won the popular vote but did not win the electoral. Anyway.
Oh, man, back in the day joints.
That was topical. We already had an interest in wrestling and in being individuals as far as the way in which we were different than the other people we were surrounded by, and a lot of times that caused tension and caused us to become friends and be together in the first place. And ultimately the things that we found fun were a little bit different than the things other people found fun, so we weren't kicking cans as much as kicking each other's asses.
All right, so we will bring that over to Brad. What do you think? Like, we never got to hear from you. What was your headspace at that time? Like, what made you go, because you were an athletic guy. You could play football, baseball.
Right.
My fat ass couldn't. So, what
definitely could.
Did you really like wrestling that much that it brought you to that primitive time where we were hurting each other a lot more because we didn't know what we were doing? We were using a lot more weapons because sign of the time, year 2000, used weapons. What is your take on that time period?
2000. Wow. I remember just enjoying, watching wrestling and. Wanting to be that person jumping off the rope, wanting to be, that superstar, so to speak. And, that turned into doing it for fun. And I think what brought us all together was, the sport. And, we got creative. We went out and created our own belts. I don't know if you guys remember the belt.
Don't remember, they're in the trunk. What the hell? I still salvage some of them, yeah.
So, it was for fun. It started off as fun, but we definitely it grew from there, and it really made it made the community, and it made a lot of friends for me, and we had a community of friends, I would say.
So some of the things that you didn't get to see after the first year would be like people going to the boardwalk and being like, "Are you guys gonna wrestle?"
Right.
You didn't get to see that.
That was mind blowing. They said, "Is Nick gonna wrestle?" I'm like, come on, I have a move or two.
No, but it was
I'll jump off
there
things.
would actually be random people who would stop and watch and be interested and go there just to see what we were going to do.
That's awesome.
And it's like, that you're at least doing something slightly entertaining and people are interested in
Of course, yeah. We get some attention. But then again, I liked how the landscape, let's just be honest, like the beach was always a great place to wrestle.
It's a great place to learn.
For sure. But also like the way the boardwalk was set up. The corners, the elevation, from the sand, it allowed you to learn basic primitive moves and, really kind of perfect your craft.
As you move into the future, we were able to parlay that into like a lot of the other guys that you didn't particularly wrestle with are now professional wrestlers.
Wow, that's awesome.
So like they were able to parlay their love for the sport and practicing and having fun into doing it as a professional.
And that's the thing. If you can find something that you're passionate about and make money for it, that's awesome. I feel like, and that's one of the things that James, he still does in his obviously he's doing it now. but
It's just a thing.
But definitely was something that brought people together, and I like that about it, because there was always a handful of kids that weren't wrestlers that used to just hang out because we were there, throwing our bodies through tables or doing
I was explaining to him like the notion of how when you were like, you need to cut the fat, and I was like, the fat needs to be able to benefit by its own fat. And you didn't understand what I was saying.
Well, I was quite bitter at that time, Nick.
No, I understand, and I didn't.
These 11-year-olds love me.
I didn't want it to be that way either. But did they not deserve to go through things differently than we did by the merit of them having this network of people that was going to not let them live the way that we had to? Right? They weren't going to be harassed the way that we were harassed.
True. Do you guys remember this thing called the Rockaway Wrestling Federation that we never ever saw, but they were before us, and the way to get in, you had to be thrown through a table? That's going to come up later. Does anybody ever heard of any sort of evidence of this, or remnants of this somewhere? Like,
No, I remember hearing about it when I was younger, but only because of like people that I knew on my block were a little bit older than me and a little bit also alternative, not necessarily.
and not the most inclusive. So we would have been the first generation to include people in things.
For sure.
Yeah. So no, like my biggest takeaway is there was that picture that you sent me from 2001, was it, Nick, where you're suplexing Steve, and your technique is exactly the same as it is today, and that's something that I always worried about the earlier years. I'm like, are we embarrassing ourselves? Like, because I take things very seriously the way that I do them. The most recent match that I had in the ring, I'm very proud of, and had that gone bad, I'd be very upset. You know, so I'm like, man, were people watching back then and being like, man, this is garbage, this isn't good? Do you have any memory? Do you feel that we were as good as we thought we were, or as good as we would turn out to be? Was there some potential there?
No, you can see the result of the product improving over time, in multiple aspects, including its general watchability. Right? You don't really want to watch older stuff as you do as much as you do newer stuff.
I know. Bring it in.
No garlic.
You know, it would be funny if we flashed the WWE Table for 3 logo on here. We eating dinner and talking about the old days. All right, Nick, you can so eat while we talk. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I want some sauce, and I forgot to ask.
She'll be back soon.
I do.
1 sauce, please. Okay.
Make it 2.
Two for some reason. Okay, so yeah, you would say though that we were doing our thing. It was watchable.
No,
I think you guys, when you guys wrestled back in the day, those were epic 1 hour bouts. Those were sand in your butt crack. Those were.
But it's like
For a long time, we wrestled.
you have.
It was like the annual Nick.
You have a level of watchability, but realize that like even from then until now, like certain staples of moves that I've done the entire time, I tailored the move then to look like what I was attempting to mimic. Right.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be something in between, like a vertical and a snap suplex. And it's like, I didn't realize when I first tried to do the moves that like, it's not as much on the person. Like, I'm not the Hulk lifting the person and holding them straight in the air. The person has to help. Right? So the move's not going to look the way it's supposed to look without the other person doing their job. Right.
Yeah.
If you're going to just chuck them over, you have to do it in the style that I was doing it. And I just got accustomed to that. That's what I do. Right. But
So you got strong as hell.
because I was lifting up to chucking them vertical suplexes. Yeah.
And it's funny too, especially with the times that we were with Brad, for Christ's sake.
Brad O'Mac.
Brad O'Mac, we sound like some bootleg characters from a wrestling video game that doesn't have a license. Don't worry, I'm serial killer. Yo, I'm hiding murder material under your cereal box.
I'm the only one who kept his name.
You're the redeemer. So
Nice job.
the biggest takeaway is we would do off the top of the rail, even me for some reason. Bring it in. Even me for some strange reason.
Why, thank you.
We'll pause for 2 seconds and bring it in. Okay, very good.
How many rings they give him?
Extra napkins, because I feel like...
Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else, you guys? Want more water?
Yes, please.
Am I gonna eat with a fork and a knife, or yeah, I think I might. Let me let these cool. What? Do we need anything else, guys? No, we're all good. Thank you so much. Sure. So, we would. Nick, you did one 450 splash. And it didn't even connect in the camera years. Almost every time we went up there, you'd practice a 450 splash. Brad, you would jump off with D-Lo's frog splash.
Oh yeah, that's all I had.
Onto nothing. A camera would have to be on, and my adrenaline would have to be at a certain level for me to do any of that these past years.
Right.
Like, how much do you think that took out of you, and do you think that it made you less prepared or more prepared for future matches? Because remember, we did brand a lot of our earlier stuff as practice. You remember that?
I mean, for me, it's just like I don't need adrenaline to jump off of things. And I guess it was that level of acclimation to the idea of jumping off of things and learning how to react to it with or without a person to land on. Even if I wasn't going to do the move, you need to feel comfortable.
Right.
Because when you're practicing it is different than when you're actually going to do it in practice, right? So like me being able to stand up onto the rail under no duress and do a flip is not the same thing as me being tired and covered in sand and having a limited amount of time to climb to the top and jump off it. So it's like it gives you a certain level of preparation and a certain level of confidence, which allows you to do that. Right? And then trying to transition into the ring is like the same idea, though. Going up to the top is not the same as standing on the boardwalk. And even though I have the experience, I'm not fully used to it or confident in my ability to do all the things I know I can do. So it's like you can see a difference in like a ring match. Like I'm not using the top like I would have.
But I think the training definitely, working from where we worked in the boardwalk setting, 20 degrees, 30 degrees.
That was something else too. We were primarily winter the first couple of years.
And we're talking about hard sand. We're talking about, this type of training. And then I think it was a little bit higher in elevation than an average ring.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
We're talking about, you're getting some good experience early on that could set you up for something, bigger. And I think
people would never see it that way, though.
There's obviously, you said there's some examples of people who have gone on from this primitive,
Yeah, I've wrestled in the ring too.
You got to keep it hidden though, like it's frowned upon to say that you were a backyard wrestler. Yard.
So, that's the term that encompasses like any kind of.
Yeah, that's from the shit we did to light tubes, like
right. Okay.
Like they consider everything the same.
Gotcha.
But what I'm saying is that like you have to give them credit because I can stand on the sign, which is tiny and moves in the wind, and that's not as difficult as standing on the top rope.
Yeah, it's true.
Without the practice, right? I jumped off the sign 100 times. I jumped off the top rope 2 times. So like you need the practice. And like, that practice is what allowed me to be able to stand on the sign, which is moving in the wind.
Yeah, no. So here's some. Why do you think nothing like that has sprouted up since? Except for RCW. Check out episode 8.
In Rockaway or?
Yeah, some of our guys that weren't really ready for it to not be a weekly thing in 2012 tried to redo the things that I was doing, but with their own banner and less organization. Right. And their front man was Charles. I don't know if you remember Charles. You remember Charles?
Yeah.
Sort of. He was like the really tall guy, always wearing like a baseball hat. So
I think it comes down to leadership. I mean, to be honest with you, I think we had dedication when we did it, and especially James.
I'm the best I can.
I mean, with having somebody that's bringing that passion every week, holding guys accountable. Maybe that's the reason that it still hasn't.
I think it's also
been here.
The relative popularity of wrestling.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. That wrestling fans have been wrestling fans.
Yeah.
There's not a new outcropping of fans. And that's going to make it more difficult for things like what we were doing to arise.
Right.
Because kids would rather be doing anything else.
I was talking to a woman last night at the old Wallbound, the Stop and Shop.
Oh yeah, that just closed down recently because there was a merger. They took over.
Wallbounds did? There was something before this.
They closed. And Stop and Shop bought some locations, and like Food Universe bought some other locations, but they all merged into one.
So, anyways, talking to the lady behind the counter, I said, "What is there to do in Rockaway for adults on a Friday, Saturday night?" She's like,
"Have sex with
me." You like to drink? And I was like, "Okay." I was like, well, what about for kids? Because she said she had a young boy, and we're gonna sign them up for St. Camilla's basketball. Like, basketball.
They still have that.
What about something, a recreational, wrestling arena or something like that? If there was something like that open to kids and open to the public, it could gain some traction. You never know.
Well, we have the why, but
it's such a stigma to it, though.
Well, like it's gonna hurt. They're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Kind of thing,
Even though you're gonna get more hurt playing football.
Yeah. Lifelong injuries.
Even WWE now trains their new guys with helmets.
Really?
Yeah, because to make sure that
they don't get sued.
No, that and like if you do happen to hit your head the first time, you don't end your entire experiment in like 1 week.
I see you haven't eaten a grog yet.
I'm about to get one.
Feel free.
Thanks,
You
sir.
can also have one.
Thank you. And you guys can have chicken. I'm not gonna eat the whole thing.
I don't eat chicken.
Oh, that's right. I look ridiculous. Hopefully I can get back on camera soon. So, with that part out of the way,
Actually, pretty good, man.
we have figured out our motivation. Now, motivation turned to determination, and when we wanted to rebrand BWA out of Mike's EW, we went ahead and, as talked about in the critically acclaimed documentary History of Pride, Complete Respect of BWA, we started off with a table match because, you know, Royal Rumble 2000 had the table match, and table matches were all the rage at the time. Now, who would like to start on not just having the table match, what it was like to get the table, and if either of you remember where it came from, that'd be great.
We need to find out where the table came from. I think it was me.
No, I think we brought it from downtown.
We found it.
Carried it uptown.
We seen it, and I was like, "Hey,"
I was like, hey, they don't need to be having
Gotta
a
get this
picnic
table.
today. Get that table.
and we,
We were walking on 92nd, and there was a construction site.
yeah,
And outside there was the folding table, and inside the thing there was a ladder. We took the ladder and we took the table.
Oh, yeah.
ingenuity,
Or, you know, misdemeanor.
death by taking.
So, let's talk about, now that we have all three of us here who are going to be involved in this match. Does anybody know why Mike had Carl jump through the table? Does anybody know this?
No, well, the thing is, we had hidden the table behind the other house, and Mike was jealous and upset, and he claims that he didn't tell Carl to do it, that Carl just on his own figured out where the table was, ran, and jumped through it. But he was trying to play spoiler.
Carl he was persuaded easily by Mike.
He was supposed to be here today, but he's like, no, rain check. I do not go in on tomatoes anymore.
They will make me be a runner.
Yeah, right? $6 an hour.
But I have no idea why he did that. I think it was just to make sure that if there was any injury sustained by going through the table initially, Mike didn't want him to find out. He wanted Carl to find out, is my understanding. Maybe that's the
because
cynical.
Mike wasn't supposed to be in the match, because at that point we had splintered away from Mike because Mike kept going, there's not enough people wrestling. I'm shutting down my company. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Mike. BWF is dead. You know?
Yeah.
I'm killing it now. So at that point, we were like, we're gonna rebrand this and make this cool, and we're gonna start with a table match, and we're not gonna spread our legs like any cheap hours. We're not gonna do any of that. No.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have Kevin wrestling with us. That's not gonna happen. We're not gonna have fucking Mike Delgado with us. Fuck those people.
Well, yeah. How have you guys heard from these?
Those guys are gone, and they're even more gone since the storm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I think there was a remnants of people here from our childhood up until 2012. When that storm hit, some people couldn't get back, and then they just relocated. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, with that said, so we're sure that's why Carl jumped through that table. And keep in mind, Carl jumped through that table on concrete because we had to set up in the concrete driveway. So
Yeah, in the back of the house, in the back of the driveway.
Wow. Carl, man. Die hard.
yeah.
Anything for the fans, man.
Then we repaired the table with the nails.
Then his
And
father
Greg got
felt
nails in
bad
his
and
arms.
fucking helped us rebuild the table, and that's why there were nails. Do
That's hilarious.
you guys remember when we got it up the first time? Like, yeah. Oh, shit. Oh God.
Like, we have to make it level so it looks intact.
Yeah.
But
So
honestly, the principle
we're not actually filming it or taking one picture, but
were camera phones invented
Nope.
at that time? Okay, this is
nope,
before
there wasn't phones.
You could have a phone or a camera.
Yeah,
not
you
both.
could have a phone if you were a millionaire. Like, and it was a Motorola, the
You
size of my
remember when
fucking
you're-
VCR.
Right before you left, your dad was dating that girl that worked for Verizon, and you both had the fucking shitty.
That's
phones.
right. Yo, my minutes. Yo, my minutes.
You got a really good memory.
You know what's fucking great about this? Nick on the regular round tables is like, 2012, I'm not too sure. I'm a little foggy on that. 1998? Yes. Brenda, you remember her? She was a lovely woman. She had a Cocker Spaniel named TT.
That was Natalie and a Cocker Spaniel latte. Get it right.
Most random memory.
Like, and
Good though, it's good.
skipping ahead, but I want to go on the topic of memory. Brad, what was your last match? because Steve claims it was with him, but Steve has the memory of a goldfish who's also lying. Yeah,
Last
that was with
match.
me, and we had a good match. Fucking liar.
Formally, I want to say between one of you guys. Do you guys have any?
The last time that I
Steve was just
remember
getting
you
into
there,
training.
yeah,
He
training,
wasn't
punching me in the
not-
head.
Yeah.
Is this how?
Is this how you do it? Just
Yeah.
like
Steve
elbow-
actually got really good. I'll give Steve that.
elbow
Steve's
drop needed to lock.
very capable, but it took 4 years after that to get that good.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of between one of you guys. Honestly, I can't.
At that
can't
point,
recall.
yeah,
to be honest.
Steve trained right before Jesse joined, right?
That's right. That was that 2001 influx where like we had more of Paul and Redden than usual. Like they were coming around more.
Charles had just came.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we went all the basic tech.
But I think the Charles stuff doesn't happen until 2002.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
You're sitting on the sideline. The only one thing that happens is December 2001.
Yeah.
You guys have that match, and Brad's the ref.
That's in the very end.
Oh yeah, I remember that match.
Yeah, because that was December 2001, and by February 2002 he left.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like, at that point, though, there was no real wrestling going on.
Right, because it had sort of tapered off. But before it tapered off, Brad in the ladder, me in the ladder, you in the grave, me in the grave. Let's talk about the table match. Nick or Brad, memories of the table match? Any memories? We know Brad has that one nail story.
Yeah.
Getting rock bottomed.
Yes, me too. Did we both take the rock bottom? Because you got rock bottom through the table, and I think we propped it back up, and then I got rock bottom through the table. So that's how Brad won. He put us both through a table.
That was fun. The only memory I remember, it was midday. Wasn't our match midday?
Yeah. It wasn't in the pitch darkness of night. I remember that.
We used to have later matches.
Yeah, because
And then we moved.
Nick, you're coming out. I am brushing my weed.
Didn't we move the venue, so to speak,
Yeah.
towards the end of the boardwalk on 127?
Yes, it moved. At first, it could be anywhere.
This table match was on 120.
Was it 121st?
121st.
I thought it was 126.
No, 121st and right at the corner. We had to move that day for some reason.
That's
We had
right.
that one in between 121st and 122nd.
Yeah,
And then we moved
I'll
the
take your
venue.
word for it. Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, no, totally. Because I'm thinking of the ladder grave stuff, which was always on
that
126.
was on 126,
Yeah.
Our regular matches, like the me versus Charles, is 120th. But for
Yeah,
whatever reason, the table match wasn't.
Because my lazy ass is not walking after I get to the beach. My fat ass doesn't get.
We're here.
Yeah.
The only thing I can remember about it is winning, which was a great
Yes.
memory.
I remember winning.
Yeah, man. No, that was cool, and it was the right move to make because at the time Brad was very talented and he was getting shit on by Mike's creative direction. Brad's gonna lose.
New World Order.
Carl's gonna win. We're gonna,
Carl's gonna be the champion again.
and the poultry is gonna fucking shit. So yeah, no, and it shouldn't have been it shouldn't have been us because we were even at that time established.
You know, we also couldn't like be like, look, we're making this new thing and we're the winners.
Yeah, and for like years I didn't win anything.
Certain personalities, I'm not going to say any names, they have to be in control. They have to be, when you look at professional wrestling, Vince McMahon.
I'm a lot like that, so that could be my name right there.
Well, I'm just saying, so I think it was a matter of control slipping away from somebody and them wanting to reestablish themselves. So, talking about
even something so simple like I wonder if the 119 people were having this trouble with their football game.
Well, realize though that Mike ultimately rejoined.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Briefly
You were gone.
in late 2001, early 2002.
See what I'm saying? Like, were you leave and Mike
so he
rejoined?
tried.
Actually, no.
He tried to
No, that was mid 2002. So as soon as you leave, we've got this weird rhythm. I would say
people leave
of
and people come
one
back.
person leaves, one major person leaves, and 3 soon-to-be major people join up. Like that happens. That happened every time up until the last day.
So 2002 would be Sly.
Yeah, right. Sly. Yeah. Sly practiced. He did the match in 2003, a little bit of 2004, but he didn't come back really big till 2006. I'm talking about he leaves, and then Charles and Mike become like guys that are mainstays who were like not a part of it in
the year before.
Yeah, and then in 2004 we lose. I guess I don't know who, but
You
we
gain Havoc and
have an entourage, and Tony
Sabotage.
comes back and Sabotage, and then in 2007 we lose Bailey, and then we get all the Dragon and Marcus and Valdez and Sin, and then we lose someone else, and then we get the we get Banks and Rain and Stone and the other guys. So yeah, it was like it was always refreshing and stuff.
what you need to enjoy are the top 5 matches in BWA history.
Oh,
as
gosh.
recommended.
That's probably no. Seriously, guys, scroll down on this video. If that's not one of them down there with Nick sitting there. So I also enjoyed the ladder match.
If you enjoy the top 5 matches in BWA history, you'll understand exactly what you're talking about. You can see the culmination of from those humble beginnings to an actual set of entertaining skills that the wrestlers can have.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, so we've talked about the table. We've talked about year 1. Let's bring it to a close. I want to just ask a couple of questions. Do you think there's anything else but wrestling that could have inspired people or children to go out there and organize something the way that we have? Because we weren't necessarily playing Manhunt, were we?
Certainly. I think it wasn't only wrestling. We did it out of necessity and for the mutual benefit of having people that were like-minded, right? So that we didn't always have to have people riding by us and calling us herbs. And,
Yes!
right?
Where those fuckers live?
And like I said, it eventually
Forgot about that word.
You should. It's from back in 2000.
eventually we didn't necessarily outgrow that. But I think even if it wasn't wrestling, we still would have had to form those bonds out of necessity.
Yeah.
We would have got blood clots on our legs playing video games if it wasn't friggin' wrestling.
No, well, like
I don't feel my
It
shoes.
wasn't like we were only wrestling. You didn't happen to go, but we played football.
I know.
Skate.
Oh Lord, I'm not going to that shit.
Beach football, beach baseball. It was. There's other things you can do. Like go back to your question.
I tried, but I sucked at it.
In terms of doing other things to bring each other together and do
Basketball?
But wrestling, man. If there was enough people to have a wrestling match, a 2-on-2. Hey Nick, you want to go do some moves? Yeah, let's go do some moves. That's how it started. It was doing some moves.
It's also because it's like the ability to do that is something that you don't get to ordinarily do. And having the beach and having other people that are willing, like it just it alters your ability to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's something else too, where like, all right, 2 of the top guys in wrestling right now are Dean Ambrose and John Cena. Dean Ambrose and John Cena dress like me and Nick from the year 2000. That is BS. I dress like The Undertaker and they dress like that. and that one of the detractions then had to be our attire. Hey, what are you guys wrestling in shorts? What's going on? What is this? The Jordache Jeans Federation? What is going on?
Well, as you see now,
Cargo
it's entirely changed, and we're allowed to wear
Did
what we
you
wear.
think that, like when it all started, you had the opportunity to be yourself and do something that wasn't normal, that was outside of the box, that was different, that nobody else was doing, but it felt like you were doing what you loved and you were being yourself. And that's all kids want in terms, just to express themselves in some kind of way. So there are other ways you can express yourself besides wrestling. But I think that we found that way and we really honed in on it. And man, I had so much fun doing it, man. I
I
actually
also enjoyed it.
It was lots of fun.
Got me laid too.
Oh well.
So let's go to the finish.
All right.
I'm just going to go on record and say it did not get me laid. It actually went ahead and
Got me
didn't-
unlaid.
It got me unlaid once they saw the collection of tapes I had to put together so
that's
Nick
so
can
cool.
get laid.
And James crying. I didn't
Oh
cry.
yeah, it was don't clip. Don't you dare clip. No clips
Clip.
on this one.
Clip.
It was emotional.
Me on the ladder, and Brad on the ladder, crying on the ladder.
I was so scared to go to the top. I only went to like the 3rd level. I was like, all right, Nick, you ready?
Yeah, no, and actually the match with me and Paul, I'm like, all right, I'm going right to the top. I'm going to go down one round or two.
And then you just fall.
I do
off.
flips off the ladder, thank you.
Do I have any sauce on my face before I do this outro?
Now you're good.
All right, I'm good. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us for this very special bonus episode. We got to talk about BWA Year 1. I want to thank Brad O'Mac. I want to thank Nick Zada. I want you guys to enjoy the holiday season. I'm going to try to get as much BWA content up as possible. And what's going to happen? 2017? Who the hell knows? Have a good one.
It's the fire!